6 years after he abandoned her, the most feared Mafia king in Philadelphia walked into her cafe and froze when her 6-year-old son looked up. Because the boy had his eyes. Claire Bennett had spent years building a quiet life from broken pieces. A blue-fronted cafe, a small apartment, a child who believed his father was simply a story no one wanted to tell. Then Roman DeLuca stepped in from the rain carrying the power she once loved and the danger she had nearly died escaping. But this was not only the story of a hidden child, it was the story of what happens when love returns wearing the face of the man who taught you to fear it. Stay until the end, because every secret, every betrayal, and every sacrifice will lead to one impossible choice. Like the video and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The rain kept sliding down the windows after Roman DeLuca entered the cafe as if the city itself had decided not to look too closely at what had just happened. Claire stood behind the counter with one hand wrapped around the edge of the register. Her fingers had gone numb. The room still smelled like espresso cinnamon and wet wool. A customer near the front window stirred sugar into his coffee. Someone laughed softly at a phone screen. The refrigerator behind Claire hummed with the stubborn calm of a machine that had no idea her past had just walked through the door. Roman remained on the other side of the counter. He had not looked away from the back room where Eli had disappeared. 7 years had changed him in ways Claire noticed all at once. His face had sharpened. A faint line ran beside his mouth. His shoulders seemed broader beneath the dark coat, but the stillness in him was the same. Roman had always possessed the unnerving ability to become quieter when everyone else grew afraid. Claire remembered that stillness. She had once mistaken it for safety. "Leave," she said. Roman looked at her. "You know I cannot do that. You found me. You saw him. Now leave." His gaze dropped to the photograph lying between them. The picture showed Eli leaving school 2 days earlier. His backpack hung from one shoulder. One shoelace trailed across the pavement. His face was turned toward someone outside the frame. Claire could not stop staring at the small detail near the edge of the image. A dark sedan reflected in the glass doors. A man stood beside it, watching. Roman leaned closer, keeping his voice low enough that the customers could not hear. That photograph passed through 3 sets of hands before it reached me. Claire lifted her eyes. "What does that mean?" "It means someone paid to know who that boy was." Her breath caught. Roman saw it and softened his voice, but only slightly. "I am not here to take him from you. You do not get to say that as if it should comfort me. I am telling you what is true." Claire almost laughed. Truth. The word felt offensive in his mouth. She turned toward the swinging door and called for Sadie. Her employee appeared with Eli beside her, one hand resting protectively on his shoulder. Eli looked from Claire to Roman. Mom Claire forced herself to breathe. "Sadie is taking you to Mrs. Cooper's apartment, but school starts in 20 minutes. Not today." Eli frowned. He disliked changes in routine. Claire had spent years giving him a life where mornings happened in the same order. Cereal, shoes, backpack, cafe, school, ordinary steps laid carefully across the day. Roman had broken that order simply by entering the room. Eli looked at him again. Roman did not smile. He did not speak. He only watched the boy with a kind of pain Claire had never seen on his face before. "Is he your friend?" Eli asked. Claire's throat tightened. "No." The answer came too quickly. Roman's jaw shifted. Claire crouched in front of her son and zipped his coat. "Go with Sadie. I will meet you there soon." Eli searched her face. "You look scared. I am fine." He knew she was lying, but he nodded anyway. Before leaving, Eli glanced over his shoulder once. Roman followed him with his eyes until the blue door closed. The bell above it gave a small, tired ring. Silence settled between them. Claire turned the sign from open to closed. A man at the window looked up. "We are closing early," she said. There were a few disappointed sighs, but no one argued. She refunded 2 orders and waited while the last customers gathered their coats. Roman remained near the counter, motionless, as if he knew the room belonged to her and would not move until she decided where he was allowed to stand. When the final customer left, Claire locked the door. The rain made the street outside look farther away than it was. She turned. Roman had removed his coat. Underneath, he wore a charcoal suit with no tie. The shirt at his throat was open by one button. There was a pale scar near his collarbone that had not been there 7 years earlier. Claire hated that she noticed. She hated that some part of her still recognized him before she could stop it. Roman picked up the photograph. His name is Eli. It was not a question. Claire said nothing. How old is he, you already know? I know what a file says. I want to hear it from you. She crossed her arms. He is 6. Roman absorbed the number as if it had struck him. His hand tightened around the photograph. 6, yes. When is his birthday, Roman? When March 18th. He looked toward the dark window. Claire knew exactly what he was calculating. 7 years since she left Philadelphia. 6 years since Eli was born. 9 months between one life and another. Roman slowly turned back to her. Is he mine? Claire had rehearsed this moment in 100 different ways over the years. Sometimes Roman appeared furious. Sometimes he appeared wounded. Sometimes she told him the truth immediately. Sometimes she denied everything. In every version, she had more control than this. Now she could hear the refrigerator humming. Rain tapped the glass. Her own pulse moved painfully beneath her jaw. Roman stepped closer. Claire, he has my last name. That is not what I asked. She looked at him. The answer was already between them. It lived in Eli's eyes, in the line of his mouth when he concentrated, in the way he watched strangers before deciding whether to speak. Roman's voice became quieter. Tell me he is not mine. Claire could not. The silence changed his face. Shock came first, then grief, then anger. Not loud anger. Roman's anger had never been loud. It gathered behind his eyes and made the room feel smaller. You had my son. I raised my son. You kept him from me. You do not get to stand here after 7 years and accuse me of anything. I did not know he existed. And I did not know whether telling you would get him killed. Roman stopped. The anger vanished so completely that Claire almost wished it had stayed. What did you say? She looked away. Memories she had spent years pressing into silence began moving again. A hallway outside her old apartment. Daniel Cross in a dark coat, the envelope he placed on her kitchen table, his calm voice telling her that loving Roman had made her visible. Roman moved around the counter, then stopped several feet away. Who threatened you? Claire laughed once without humor. You really do not know. Tell me. Daniel Cross. Roman's expression hardened. Daniel spoke to you. He came to my apartment 2 nights before I left. What did he say? Claire walked toward the coffee machine because standing still felt impossible. She picked up a towel and wiped a counter that was already clean. He said people were asking questions about me. He said your enemies had started noticing where you spent your nights. He said there were men who would not need to kill me to hurt you. Roman watched her. He said they could take my mother, ruin my name, make me disappear. He said if I stayed, I would become the reason someone buried me. Roman's face had gone pale beneath the warm cafe lights. He told you that on my authority he did not need to. He did. Claire turned. No, he did not. That was the worst part. He said you did not know he was there. He said you were too close to me to see clearly, so someone else had to protect you from your own weakness. Roman said nothing. Claire continued. He left money on the table. I did not take it. I packed one suitcase and drove west before sunrise. And you never called me. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks later. The words changed the air again. Roman closed his eyes. For 1 second he looked less like the man feared across half the city, and more like someone standing in the wreckage of a life he had not known was missing. Claire remembered the bathroom in the motel outside Pittsburgh, the yellow light, the cheap plastic test in her hand, the rain against another window in another city. She had sat on the floor for nearly an hour. Her first instinct had been to call Roman. Her second had been to remember Daniel's voice. Roman opened his eyes. You should have told me. I wanted to, but you did not. No, you decided for both of us. Claire felt the guilt because it was true. She had lived with that truth for 6 years. Still, guilt did not erase fear. I saw a report about one of your warehouses exploding 3 days after I found out. 2 men died. Your name was never printed, but I knew it was yours. Roman looked down. It was. I thought Daniel had been right. I thought if I called, I would be placing a target over my own child. You thought I would let someone touch you. I thought you would try to protect us. I also knew protection in your world came with guards' guns, locked doors, and men who disappeared. Roman did not argue. That frightened Claire more than denial would have. He walked toward the nearest table and rested both hands on the back of a chair. What happened after you left? The question was quiet. Claire studied him. Why? Because I missed every part of it. The honesty in his voice struck harder than anger. Claire looked toward the pastry case. She had not planned to tell him anything, yet the years came back in fragments. She told him about moving from Pittsburgh to Columbus because she thought someone had recognized her. She told him about working mornings in a bakery and nights at a hotel front desk. She told him how she hid the pregnancy beneath loose sweaters until she could no longer work both jobs. She told him Eli was born during a snowstorm. Her mother had driven through ice to reach the hospital. Roman had not been there. No one had stood beside the bed holding Claire's hand. No one had taken the first photograph except a tired nurse with Claire's borrowed phone. She told him about the apartment with the broken heater. The nights Eli cried from colic. The morning she returned to work while her body still hurt because rent was due. She told him about saving cash in a coffee tin, about every dollar that became the cafe, about the first morning she opened the Blue Hour and realized she finally owned something no one could take simply by ordering her to leave. Roman listened without interruption. His face remained controlled, but his eyes did not. When Claire stopped, he looked toward the framed photograph behind the register. Eli stood in front of the blue door, grinning with a paintbrush in his hand. You built all of this alone. Yes. Roman's gaze returned to her. You should not have had to. Claire shook her head. Do not turn this into regret you can carry beautifully. I was there. You were not. I know. You do not know. No, Roman said, but I know I will spend the rest of my life understanding what that cost. Claire stared at him. There had been a time when Roman responded to pain by controlling the room around it. He would make calls, move people, solve problems through force or money. Now he simply stood there and accepted that nothing he possessed could purchase the years he had lost. His phone vibrated. Roman checked the screen. The change in his expression was immediate. The man Claire remembered returned. Focused. Cold. Dangerous. He walked to the front window and looked through the blinds. What is it? She asked. Roman did not answer right away. A black vehicle idled across the street. The driver's face was hidden by rain and reflection. Roman typed a short message. Within seconds, one of the men outside moved toward the vehicle. The car pulled away. Roman turned back. Victor Hale. Claire had never heard the name. The fact brought no comfort. Who is he? A man who controls several routes between Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York. Routes for what Roman held her gaze. People, weapons, stolen goods. Anything that creates money and fear. Claire felt the room grow colder. And I control freight companies, private security contracts, warehouses, and enough of the roads he wants to make me a problem. That is a careful answer. It is an honest one. She folded her arms again. Why is he watching my son Victor has been losing ground for almost a year? He cannot reach me through business, so he has started looking backward. Backward old photographs, former employees, places I used to go, people I used to care about. Claire flinched at the past tense. Roman noticed. He did not correct it. One of Victor's men paid a private investigator to identify you, he continued. That investigator found the cafe, then he found the school. Claire looked at the photograph. How did you get this? My people followed one of Victor's surveillance teams. We intercepted a copy before it reached him. A copy. Roman's silence answered. Victor already had another. Claire pressed both hands against the counter. Her mind moved immediately to practical things. The front entrance of Eli's school, the alley behind the cafe, the 3 blocks between their apartment and the bus stop, Mrs. Cooper's unlocked lobby door. Every ordinary place now looked exposed. Roman stepped closer. I need you to listen to me. I have spent 7 years trying not to. This is not about us. It became about us the moment you walked through that door. It is about Eli. The sound of her son's name in Roman's voice made something tighten in her chest. Roman continued. I can place 2 teams around the school and the cafe. They will remain out of sight. No one will approach Eli. No one will enter your business unless there is an immediate threat. Claire laughed bitterly. You already have a plan. I made one before I came inside. Of course you did. I did not know whether the boy was mine. But you planned to surround him with armed men anyway. I planned to keep a child alive. Claire looked toward the blue door. She wanted to refuse him. Every part of the life she had built depended on deciding for herself where she went, who entered her home, and what her son saw. Roman's protection felt too close to the cage Daniel had described. Still, the photograph remained on the counter. Eli leaving school. Eli being watched. What would it look like, she asked. Roman answered without hesitation. One vehicle near the school during arrival and dismissal. Another near the cafe. Mason Reed will coordinate everything. I do not know him. You will. I do not want men with guns inside my cafe. They will stay outside. I do not want anyone following Eli into school. They will not. No one speaks to him. Agreed. No one comes into my apartment. Not without your permission. Claire studied him. And you, Roman's eyes shifted toward the back room. I want to meet him. No. The answer came instantly. Roman's jaw tightened. Claire saw the fight rise in him. Then he forced it down. He is my son. He does not know that. He deserves to. He deserves stability more. I am not asking you to tell him today. You are asking to step into his life because you discovered a blood connection this morning. Roman's voice lowered. I am asking for the chance to look at him without a counter between us. Claire felt anger burn through the fear. You have not earned that. Roman held her gaze. No. The admission silenced her. He stepped back. I have not. Claire had expected an argument, a demand, a threat wrapped in calm language. Instead, Roman picked up his coat. I will wait. She almost did not believe him. For how long? As long as you decide. You expect me to trust that? No. He pulled on the coat. I expect to prove it. Roman took a card from his pocket and placed it beside the photograph. Only one name was printed on it. Mason Reed. A phone number beneath. No company logo, Claire asked. Mason does not need one. That sounds reassuring. Roman almost smiled. The expression disappeared before it fully formed. If you see a vehicle more than twice, call him. If anyone asks about Eli, call him. If someone enters this cafe and watches the exits instead of the menu, call him. Claire looked at the card. And if I do not, Roman's eyes became hard. Then call me. He wrote another number on the back. Claire recognized the handwriting immediately. It had once filled notes left beside her coffee. Dinner at 8. Wear the red dress. I miss you. She hated that memory could make a few numbers feel intimate. Roman walked toward the door. Claire spoke before she could stop herself. Did you look for me? His hand paused on the lock. For several seconds he faced the rain. Then he turned. Not at first. The answer cut exactly where she expected it to. Claire nodded once. Of course. Roman took a step back into the room. For 3 years I believed you had finally seen me clearly. I had. I thought you left because you could not live with what I was. I was too proud to chase someone who had chosen freedom. Claire swallowed. And then I found out Daniel had visited you. How one of his men mentioned your address during an argument. Daniel denied it. 2 days later he disappeared. You believed him no. Roman's expression darkened. I spent 3 years looking for you after that. Claire wanted to dismiss the claim. Instead, she remembered all the precautions that had shaped her life. Her mother's maiden name, cash payments, no photographs online, 2 sudden moves, jobs that did not require background checks. I searched hospitals, Roman said. Property records, employment files, shelters. Every city where Daniel had contacts. You vanished better than most people trained to do it. Fear is a good teacher. Roman looked at her for a long moment. Yes. Claire glanced at the photograph again. Where is Daniel now? I do not know. That is not an answer men like you usually give. It is the only one I have. Roman opened the door. Rain blew across the threshold. Before stepping outside, he turned back. Daniel has been missing for 4 years. Claire waited. Roman's voice became very quiet. Victor Hale started using information only Daniel should know 6 months ago. The old fear returned with a new shape. Not a man from the past, a man still alive. A man who had once known where Claire slept. Roman stepped into the rain. One of the black vehicles pulled toward the curb, but he did not enter immediately. He stood beneath the awning and looked through the glass at Claire. For 7 years she had believed distance had saved her. Now Roman was outside her door, Victor Hale had a photograph of her son, and Daniel Cross might have spent years waiting for the right moment to finish what he had started. Claire reached for the lock. Before she could turn it, her phone rang. Unknown number. She looked through the window. Roman saw the screen in her hand. The rain seemed to stop moving. Claire answered. No one spoke. She heard breathing, then a man's voice, low and almost familiar. You chose a beautiful blue for the door. The call ended. Claire slowly lifted her eyes. Across the street, the black vehicle that had driven away earlier was back. This time, the rear window lowered. A man inside raised a phone toward the cafe. Roman turned. Everything about him changed. He no longer looked like the man who had come to ask about his son. He looked like the reason powerful men checked the street before leaving home. Claire unlocked the door. Roman stepped back inside. For the first time in 7 years, she did not ask him to leave. Roman closed the door behind him. The bell above it gave one weak sound, then settled. Claire still held the phone against her ear, even though the call had ended. Her hand was trembling now. She lowered it slowly and looked through the rain-streaked glass. The vehicle across the street remained in place. Its rear window was raised again. Nothing moved inside. Roman walked past her and turned the deadbolt. Go to the back. Claire did not move. I am not hiding in my own cafe. This is not the moment to prove a point, and this is not your building to command. Roman looked at her. The force in his expression would have silenced most people. Claire had once been impressed by that look. Now it only made her stand straighter. He lowered his voice. Claire, someone just called you from across the street to show you he knows where you are. I need you away from the windows. The word need changed something. It was not an order. It was fear wearing Roman's voice. Claire stepped backward, but she did not go to the kitchen. Roman took out his phone and called Mason. Black sedan across from the cafe. Rear passenger window. Do not approach from the front. He listened. No. I want the driver alive. Claire watched him. There was no hesitation in him now, no visible anger. Roman became more precise when danger appeared. His attention moved between the street, the side entrance, the reflection in the coffee machine, and the shadowed alley beyond the kitchen door. He knew how to stand in a room where violence might arrive. Claire hated that she felt safer because of it. Roman ended the call. Where is Eli with Sadie at Mrs. Cooper's apartment? What address? Claire hesitated. Roman saw it. I am not asking because I want access to him. You always want access. I am asking because the man outside may already know where he is. That ended the argument. Claire gave him the address. Roman sent it to Mason. Seconds later, his phone vibrated. Mason has someone heading there now. No one goes inside. They will stay on the street. Claire folded her arms. You said that before. Roman held her gaze. I will keep saying it until you believe I mean it. A dark SUV turned onto the block. Claire recognized one of Roman's men in the passenger seat. The vehicle slowed, then continued past the cafe without stopping. Across the street, the black sedan pulled away. Roman watched it disappear through the rain. His phone rang. He answered without greeting. Claire could not hear Mason's words, only Roman's brief responses. Stay with it. A pause. No lights. Another pause. Do not lose him. Roman ended the call. Claire let out a breath she had not realized she was holding. What happens if they catch him? Roman looked toward the empty street. That depends on who he is. That is not what I asked. No. She waited. Roman turned back. If he is only a driver, we ask questions. If he is one of Victor's men, we ask different questions. Claire felt cold despite the warm air inside the cafe. Different how Roman's face became unreadable. You do not want the answer. You do not get to decide what I want to know. No, he said, but I can decide what I put in your head. The sentence angered her because it sounded almost gentle, as though ignorance could still protect her. Claire walked toward the counter and picked up the photograph of Eli. The paper had softened where her fingers had pressed too hard. This is already in my head. Roman said nothing. She turned the photograph over. There was no message on the back, no name, no explanation, only the image of her son walking into the ordinary afternoon she had believed belonged to them. You said Victor found old photographs of us. Yes. How old before you left? Who kept them? Roman's jaw shifted. People keep more than they should. That is another careful answer. Daniel had access to private records, guest lists, security footage, property files. He knew where I took you, which restaurants we used, which apartment you stayed in when your building lost heat. Claire remembered that night. Roman had brought her to a place overlooking the river. He had cooked pasta badly and opened a bottle of wine too expensive for either of them to appreciate. She had fallen asleep on his chest while snow covered the windows. The memory arrived with such warmth that Claire resented it. Was he watching us then? I do not know. You trusted him. I did. And now he may be working with the man watching my child. Yes. Roman did not soften the truth. Claire placed the photograph down. How many people knew about me? Enough. How many know now? Too many. She closed her eyes. The cafe suddenly felt exposed from every angle. The front windows, the kitchen delivery door, the narrow stairwell leading to the storage room. Places she had once measured in convenience now became weaknesses. Roman moved closer. I need to take you to Eli. Claire opened her eyes. You are not coming inside Mrs. Cooper's apartment. I will wait downstairs. Your men stay out of the building. Yes. No one speaks to him. Yes. And after that, we reinforce your apartment. We place a team near the school and another here. Claire shook her head. You do not hear yourself. I hear exactly what I am saying. You are describing armed surveillance around a 6-year-old. I am describing what prevents someone from putting him in a car. The image hit too hard. Claire looked away. Roman immediately regretted the words. She saw it in the way his shoulders changed. He spoke more quietly. I should not have said it like that. But you meant it. Yes, that honesty again. It made him harder to resist and harder to forgive. Claire walked into the back room to retrieve her coat and purse. Roman followed only as far as the doorway. The office was small, a metal desk, 2 filing cabinets, Eli's drawings taped along one wall, a red crayon rocket, a crooked cat, 3 people standing outside a blue building. Roman stopped at the last drawing. Claire noticed. Eli had drawn himself beside her. The third person was taller, faceless, and colored entirely in black. Roman pointed to it. Who is that? Claire slipped her phone into her purse. He said it was someone he had not met yet. Roman stared at the drawing. Claire wished she had taken it down. Eli had asked about his father more often during the past year. Not angrily. Curiosity was worse. Anger could be answered. Curiosity returned in new shapes. Did his father have dark hair? Did he live far away? Did he know Eli liked airplanes? Did he have another family? Claire had given careful answers. Not lies exactly. Fragments placed around the truth. Roman looked at the drawing a moment longer, then stepped back. I am ready. They left through the kitchen exit. Roman's car waited in the alley. It was dark, polished, and too expensive for the cracked pavement beneath it. A man stood beside the rear door. Roman opened it himself. Claire paused. I can drive. Your car is visible from the street. So is yours. Yes, but mine is armored. Claire looked at him. He did not smile. She got in. Roman entered from the other side. The interior smelled faintly of leather and rain. Claire sat near the window, her purse clutched against her lap. Roman left space between them. The car moved into traffic. Philadelphia passed outside in wet gray pieces, brick row houses, corner stores, people beneath umbrellas, a woman pulling a child across the street by one gloved hand. Claire watched every dark vehicle. Roman noticed. The sedan is no longer behind us. You are sure Mason would tell me. You trust him that much. Yes. You trusted Daniel too. The words landed. Roman turned toward the window. I did. Claire almost apologized. She did not. They rode in silence for another block. Then Roman asked, What does Eli know about me? Nothing specific. Has he asked? Yes. What did you tell him, that his father was someone I knew a long time ago? Roman looked at her. That is all I told him. You did not know where we were. His voice lowered. Did you tell him I did not know about him? No? Roman's face tightened. Claire continued before he could speak. He was 4 the first time he asked. I was not going to explain fear, organized crime, and why his mother disappeared while pregnant. You could have told him I did not abandon him. I did not know what to tell him about you. You knew I did not know he existed. I also knew the life you lived. Roman leaned back. So in his mind, I may be a man who chose not to come. I never said that. You did not have to. Claire looked at him. You think I wanted him to believe that I think silence fills itself? The sentence struck both of them. Roman looked away first. The car stopped at a red light. Across the intersection, a father crouched beside a little girl and fixed the strap of her backpack. The child talked with both hands. The father listened as though nothing else existed. Roman watched them. His expression barely changed. Claire saw the loss anyway. What would you have done, she asked. Roman turned. If I had told you. He did not answer immediately. I would have brought you home. That is not the question. I would have protected you. That is not the question either. Roman's jaw tightened. Claire held his gaze. What would you have done with a baby in your life? The light changed. The car moved. Roman looked down at his hands. I do not know. The answer surprised her. He continued. I would like to believe I would have changed everything. Maybe I would have tried and failed. Maybe I would have told myself I could keep both worlds separate. I was arrogant enough then to believe wanting something made me capable of protecting it. Claire heard no performance in his voice, only regret. Roman looked at her. But I would have been there. The simplicity of it hurt. Claire turned toward the window. Mrs. Cooper's building appeared at the end of the block, an older brick structure with flower boxes beneath the windows and a narrow green awning over the entrance. Roman's security vehicle was parked halfway down the street, ordinary enough to disappear among the others. Claire looked at him. They stay outside. Roman nodded. The driver opened the door. Claire stepped out first. Roman followed but remained near the curb. You said downstairs, she reminded him. I remember. Claire entered the building alone. Mrs. Cooper opened her apartment door before Claire knocked. She was a retired school librarian with silver hair, bright scarves, and an instinct for worry. Claire, what happened? Someone called the cafe. Mrs. Cooper looked past her toward the stairwell. Is he here? Claire stopped. Who the man from the cafe? Sadie had told her. Of course she had. Claire glanced into the living room. Eli sat on the floor arranging wooden train tracks. He looked up and smiled. Mom. The sight of him nearly broke her. Claire crossed the room and pulled him into her arms. He stiffened in surprise. Mom, I cannot breathe. She loosened her hold but did not let go. Sorry. Eli looked at her face. Did the man leave? Claire glanced at Mrs. Cooper. Not exactly. Eli tilted his head. Is he downstairs? Claire felt the room become very still. How do you know I saw the black car? He stood and walked to the window. Claire followed quickly and pulled the curtain closed. Eli frowned. Did he do something bad? No. Then why are you scared of him? Claire did not have an answer that belonged in a room with toy trains and a bowl of apple slices on the table. He is someone I knew before you were born. Eli considered that. Was he your boyfriend? Mrs. Cooper turned away to hide a reaction. Claire closed her eyes briefly. He was important to me. Is he still? The question came without judgment. Children asked directly because they had not yet learned to protect adults from their own feelings. Claire crouched. I do not know. Eli looked toward the closed curtain. Can I see him? Her heart tightened. No. Why? Because I need more time. Eli studied her. Then he nodded. He did not argue, but disappointment moved across his face. Claire wondered how many times he had imagined the faceless figure in his drawing. She stood and spoke quietly with Mrs. Cooper. She explained only what was necessary. Someone had been watching the cafe. Roman had arranged security. Claire and Eli would go home, but they needed to be careful. Mrs. Cooper touched her arm. You do not have to do this alone. Claire looked toward Eli. I know. It was the first time the words felt possible. Outside, Roman stood beneath the awning. Rain collected along the shoulders of his coat. He had not moved closer to the door. Claire appreciated that more than she wanted to. Eli came downstairs holding her hand. Roman saw him immediately. His entire body changed. Not dramatically. Roman was not a man who revealed himself through large gestures, but his shoulders lowered. His attention narrowed. The hard line around his mouth softened. Eli looked at him. Roman did not approach. Claire could feel the question in both of them. Eli whispered, Is that him? Yes. Roman remained several feet away. Claire looked at him. This is my son Eli. Roman's eyes moved to hers. Something passed between them. Permission limited and fragile. He crouched slowly so he would not tower over the boy. "Hello, Eli." Eli stayed close to Claire. "Hi." Roman glanced at the small wooden airplane sticking out of Eli's backpack. "You like planes?" Eli nodded. "I know all the biggest ones." Roman said, "Then you know more than I do." Eli looked skeptical. Adults always say that when they want kids to talk. Claire almost smiled. Roman did. It was brief and real. "You're right," he said. "I wanted you to talk." Eli studied him for a few seconds. Then he pulled the plane from his backpack. The wing broke. Roman looked at it but did not reach. "May I see it?" Eli handed it to him. Roman turned the small plane carefully in his palm. "I think it can be fixed. With glue, and patience." Eli looked up. "Do you have patience?" Claire held her breath. Roman looked at her before answering. "I am learning." The rain softened. For one strange moment the street became quiet around them. Then Mason appeared from across the road. He did not rush, but his expression was enough to end the moment. Roman stood. What Mason handed him a phone. Roman looked at the screen. Claire saw a photograph. Her apartment building, taken less than 10 minutes earlier. Roman's voice became flat. "Who sent this unknown number?" Mason swiped to the next image. The second photograph showed Claire's kitchen window. The light was on. Someone was inside. Claire felt Eli's hand tighten around hers. Roman looked at Mason. "Clear the building." Mason moved toward the car. Claire stepped in front of Roman. "No." Roman looked at her. "What do you mean, no?" "You are not sending armed men into a building full of families. Someone is inside your apartment. Then call the police. The police will take 20 minutes. And your men 4. Claire looked at Eli. Roman followed her gaze. He understood. He turned to Mason. "No weapons visible. Evacuate the floor. Tell them there is a gas leak." Mason nodded and walked away. Roman faced Claire again. "You and Eli are not going home tonight. Where are we going? A secure property?" "No." Roman stepped closer. "This is not negotiable." Claire's fear turned sharp. "You promised you would not control where we sleep. I made that promise before someone entered your home. You do not get to break every agreement the moment you are afraid." Roman's voice dropped. "I am not afraid for myself. That does not make it less controlling." Eli looked between them. Claire saw his confusion and forced herself to lower her voice. Roman did the same. He said, "Then choose the place." Claire stared at him. "A hotel, your mother's house, Mrs. Cooper's apartment, anywhere that has not been watched. My mother lives 2 hours away. Then we go there. You would follow us?" "Yes." Claire nearly refused again. Then Roman's phone rang. "Mason." Roman answered. His face changed as he listened. "What did they find?" A pause. "Do not touch it." He ended the call. Claire waited. Roman looked toward Eli, then back to her. There was no one inside. Claire exhaled. But someone left something on the kitchen table. What? Roman hesitated. Claire stepped closer. "What did they leave? A photograph?" Her stomach tightened. Of what Roman's eyes held hers. "You and me." Claire said nothing. "From 7 years ago," he continued. "The night we had dinner by the river." The memory returned instantly. Snow at the windows. Roman laughing when the pasta burned. His shirt hanging over the back of a chair. Claire asleep against him. No one else should have known they were there. Roman looked at Mason's phone again. "There is writing on the back." Claire forced the words out. "What does it say?" Roman's expression became colder than the rain. He found her once. Claire waited. Roman looked directly at her. He can find her again. Eli pressed closer to her side. Claire stared at Roman, and the last part of her that wanted to believe the danger could remain outside ordinary life finally gave way. She looked at her son, then at the apartment building where someone had entered without breaking a lock. When she spoke, her voice was steady. "Take us somewhere safe." Roman did not answer with triumph. He simply opened the car door. Claire helped Eli inside. Roman stood in the rain for one final moment, scanning the windows above them. Then he entered the vehicle and sat across from the son he had only just met. The car pulled away from the curb. Eli held the broken airplane in both hands. Roman looked at it. So he said quietly about that wing. Eli glanced at Claire first. She gave the smallest nod. He handed the plane to Roman. Outside, Philadelphia blurred beneath the rain. Inside the car, Claire watched Roman hold their son's broken toy as though it were something sacred, while the city behind them became a place they could no longer trust. The city thinned around them slowly. Brick buildings gave way to wider streets. Storefronts disappeared behind rain and darkness. Traffic lights became less frequent until the car was moving through long stretches of wet road bordered by bare trees. Claire sat beside Eli in the back seat. Roman occupied the seat across from them, the broken wooden airplane resting carefully in his hands. Eli watched him examine the damaged wing. "You said glue and patience," Eli reminded him. "I remember. Do you have glue? Where we are going?" "Yes." "What kind?" Roman looked up. "There are different kinds." Eli stared at him with open disappointment. Claire almost smiled. "Wood glue," Eli said. "Regular glue is not strong enough." Roman nodded seriously. "Wood glue, and a clamp. I will find one. You cannot just hold it until it dries." "I was not planning to." Eli leaned back, apparently satisfied that Roman understood the seriousness of the repair. Claire looked out the window. The exchange had been ordinary. That was what frightened her. Danger made sense when Roman stood in the rain issuing orders. He belonged to dark cars, guarded entrances, and conversations that changed when he entered a room. He did not belong with her son discussing glue. The car turned onto a narrow road lined with stone walls. Claire checked her phone. No service. "Where are we?" she asked. "Outside," Bryn Mawr, Roman said. "That is not an address. You will have the address. Once we arrive." Claire looked at him. Roman held her gaze for a moment, then took his phone from his coat and sent her a message. Her screen lit up with an address. He said, "You can send it to your mother." Claire had not asked. The fact that he had understood what she needed without forcing her to say it made her uneasy. She forwarded the address to her mother along with a short message. "We are safe. I will explain tomorrow." The reply came immediately. "Are you with him?" Claire stared at the question. She locked the screen without answering. The car slowed before a pair of iron gates set between stone pillars. There were no visible guards. A small camera turned toward the windshield. The gates opened before the driver stopped. Beyond them, the road curved through a stand of tall trees. Eli pressed his face close to the window. "Is this your house?" he asked Roman. "No." "Then whose is it? A company owns it." "Your company?" "Yes." "What company?" Roman looked at Claire. She raised one eyebrow. He had wanted honesty. Now he could practice it. "A security company," he said. Eli turned back toward the window. "Do you protect people?" Roman's answer came after a pause. "Sometimes." The house appeared through the rain. It was large but not grand in the way Claire expected. Gray stone, dark shutters, a wide porch beneath a slate roof. Warm light glowed from several windows. Nothing about it looked temporary. That made Claire more suspicious. The car stopped near the entrance. Mason's vehicle arrived behind them. Roman stepped out first and scanned the property before opening Claire's door. She did not take his hand. Eli climbed out holding his backpack. Roman kept the wooden airplane. "I can carry that," Eli said. "I know." "Then why are you carrying it?" Roman looked down at the broken wing. "Because I said I would fix it." Eli considered the answer and allowed him to keep it. Inside the house smelled faintly of cedar and fresh coffee. The entrance opened into a wide hall with polished wood floors. A staircase curved toward the second floor. There were framed landscapes on the walls, but no family photographs. A woman in her 50s approached from the kitchen. Her dark hair was tied neatly at the back of her neck. "Mr. DeLuca, Anna." Her eyes moved to Claire and Eli without curiosity. Roman said, "They need food and rooms upstairs." Anna nodded. "I prepared the guest rooms." Claire turned toward Roman. "You prepared rooms?" I called from the car. "You knew we were coming here before I agreed. I knew it was possible. You planned around my answer. I planned for your safety." Claire heard Eli unzip his coat. She did not want to argue in front of him. Roman seemed to understand. He addressed Anna. "Nothing formal. He has school in the morning if Claire decides it is safe." Anna looked at Eli. "What do you like for dinner, macaroni? Do you like vegetables?" No, Anna nodded. "Then we understand each other." Eli smiled. Claire removed her coat. She looked around the hall again. "How many people are here?" "6 outside," Roman said. 2 inside, including Anna. "Armed?" "Yes." Claire closed her eyes briefly. No one carries a weapon where Eli can see it. Roman turned to Mason. You heard her. Mason nodded. Already handled. Claire looked at him. Mason removed his coat. There was no gun visible beneath it now. Mrs. Bennett, he said, the building has secure locks, reinforced windows, and 2 emergency exits. Your room has a direct line to me. No one enters the 2nd floor without your permission. Claire. Mason paused. My name is Claire. Claire. It was the first time one of Roman's men had addressed her like a person rather than a responsibility. Roman handed Eli's plane back to him. I will find the glue. Eli looked toward the kitchen, and the clamp, and the clamp. Anna led Claire and Eli upstairs. Roman remained in the hall with Mason. Claire could hear their voices lowering before she reached the first landing. The guest room assigned to her was larger than the apartment bedroom she had shared with Eli when he was a baby. Cream walls, a fireplace, heavy curtains, a private bathroom with folded towels and unopened toothbrushes laid beside the sink. The room across the hall had been prepared for Eli. Someone had placed children's books on the nightstand and a small lamp shaped like a ship. Claire stood in the doorway. This is nice, Eli said. Yes. Are we staying long? I do not know. He dropped his backpack onto the bed. Is someone trying to hurt us? Claire had hoped the question would wait. She closed the door behind them. Someone entered our apartment. I heard Roman say that. The ease with which Eli used his name tightened something inside her. Claire sat on the edge of the bed. You remember how I always tell you not to speak to strangers? Yes, there are people who might ask questions about me or about you. Roman and Mason are helping make sure those people stay away. Why do they care? Claire looked at him. Eli waited. Because Roman is your father. The truth rose to her tongue and stopped there. Roman knew me a long time ago. You said he was important. He was. Did he hurt you? Children always found the center of a thing. Claire chose her words carefully. He did not hurt me the way you mean. But he did something, yes. Eli looked down at his shoes. Did you hurt him? Claire felt the question like a hand against her chest. Yes. How I left without explaining why. Why I was afraid. Of him, of the people around him. Eli considered this. Then he asked, Are you still afraid? Claire looked toward the closed bedroom door. I am trying to understand what I should be afraid of. A knock sounded. Claire stood immediately. Who is it, Roman? She opened the door only halfway. Roman held a small bottle of wood glue and a metal clamp. Eli appeared beside her. You found them. Roman looked at the boy. I said I would. Eli opened the door wider before Claire could stop him. Can we fix it now? Roman did not enter. He looked at Claire. The question in his eyes was clear. She could have refused. Instead, she stepped aside. Roman walked into the room as though crossing a border. He sat at the small desk near the window. Eli placed the airplane in front of him and pulled over a chair. Claire remained near the bed. Roman examined the brake. This part needs to be cleaned. Eli leaned closer. Why glue works better when there is no dust. How do you know I have repaired things before? What things Roman's fingers stopped for half a second. Furniture, doors, a few machines. Claire knew those were not the first things that had entered his mind. Roman used a cloth to clean the wood. He explained each step to Eli without speaking down to him. Eli watched with complete attention. Claire watched Roman. 7 years earlier, she had once seen him repair the broken latch on her apartment window. He had removed his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and worked in silence while she made coffee. At the time, she had found the sight comforting. Roman could fix things. Locks, engines, business disputes. She had not understood that some things broke because of the world he carried with him. Eli asked, Do you have kids? Roman looked at Claire. Her entire body went still. No, he said. Eli frowned. Then why are you good at talking to me? Roman's mouth shifted. I do not know if I am. You are not terrible. That is encouraging. Claire looked away before either of them saw her smile. Roman placed glue along the broken edge and fitted the wing into place. Eli held the body of the plane while Roman adjusted the clamp. Their hands were side by side, same long fingers, same left-handed grip. Claire felt a painful warmth move through her. Eli noticed it too. You use your left hand. Yes, so do I. Roman looked at him. For one quiet second, neither spoke. Claire stepped forward. Dinner should be ready soon. The moment broke. Roman finished securing the clamp. It needs to stay like this overnight. Eli sighed. Patience, Roman said. I know. They went downstairs. Anna had prepared macaroni, roasted chicken bread, and green beans that Eli avoided with careful precision. Roman sat at the far end of the table. Claire sat beside Eli. Mason entered twice, spoke quietly to Roman, then left. Each time, Roman's attention changed. His face became distant. His answers were short. Claire noticed Eli watching. What does Mason tell you? Eli asked. Work, Roman said. What kind of work? Security. Did someone break into another house? Roman placed his fork down. Claire waited for him to avoid the question. Instead, he said, Mason is making sure the person who entered your apartment cannot come here. Do you know who it was? Not yet. Will you hurt him? The room became silent. Anna looked down at the serving dish. Roman leaned back slightly. Why would you ask that? Mom said the people around you scared her. Claire's hand tightened around her napkin. Roman looked at her, then at Eli. Sometimes I have hurt people. Eli stared at him. Claire did not interrupt. Roman continued. Sometimes it was because they were trying to hurt someone else. Sometimes it was because I was angry. Those are not the same thing. Was it bad? Yes. The simple answer surprised everyone. Eli looked at his plate. Are you bad? Roman's face did not change, but Claire saw the pain beneath it. I have done bad things. That is not what I asked. Roman studied him. No, he said quietly. I do not think I am only bad. Eli nodded as though filing the answer away. Then he pushed the bowl of green beans toward Roman. You can have these. Roman accepted them. Claire lowered her eyes to hide the emotion rising in them. After dinner, Anna showed Eli a cabinet filled with board games. He chose a card game with rules he explained 3 times and changed twice. Roman played without questioning the changes. When Eli won, he celebrated loudly. Roman looked suspicious. You invented that rule. It is still a rule. It became a rule after I played my card. That is when I remembered it. Claire laughed. The sound escaped before she could stop it. Roman turned toward her. For a moment, the room held no threats. No missing years, no photographs taken through windows. Only Eli grinning over a pile of cards, and Claire laughing beneath the warm light. Roman's gaze softened. Claire stopped laughing. The past returned between them. Eli yawned. Claire checked the time. You need to sleep. I am not tired. You just yawned. I was breathing deeply. Roman looked down at his cards. Claire saw his shoulders move with restrained amusement. She pointed upstairs. Bed. Eli gathered his airplane carefully. Can Roman read the story? Claire froze. Roman did not move. Eli looked between them. He fixed the plane. That does not mean he has to read. I can, Roman said. Claire turned to him. He added, only if you are comfortable. Eli waited. Claire thought of all the nights she had read alone. The times Eli had asked why other children had 2 voices at bedtime. The questions she had avoided. One story, she said. Upstairs, Eli chose a book about a pilot crossing the ocean. Roman sat in the chair beside the bed. Claire remained near the doorway. Roman read slowly. His voice was deeper than Claire remembered, but the rhythm was familiar. Eli interrupted every few pages. That kind of plane cannot fly that far. It is a story. It should still make sense. Roman turned the page. You are a difficult audience. I am accurate. By the final page, Eli's eyes were closing. Roman placed the book on the table. Eli opened them again. Are you staying here? Roman looked at Claire. Yes. In this house, yes. Why? To make sure you are safe. Eli was quiet. Do you protect everyone this much? Roman's hand tightened around the edge of the chair. No. Why us? Claire stepped forward. That is enough questions tonight. Eli looked at her, then back at Roman. Roman rose. Good night, Eli. Good night. Claire followed Roman into the hall and pulled the door nearly closed. For several seconds they stood facing each other beneath the dim light. You should not have answered him about hurting people, Claire whispered. You wanted honesty. He is 6. He asked me directly. You could have said it was complicated. That is what adults say when they want children to stop asking. Claire folded her arms. You barely know him. Roman's expression changed. I know. The words carried more weight than she expected. He looked toward Eli's room. I know he hates green beans. I know he changes rules when he is losing. I know he notices which hand people use. I know he asks the question everyone else avoids. That is not knowing him, no. Roman turned back to her. But it is more than I knew this morning. Claire's anger weakened. She hated him for making grief sound so simple. Roman said Mason found the person who entered your apartment. Her body stiffened. Who, not Daniel. Then who, a man named Cole Barrett. He works for Victor. What did he say? Nothing yet. Where is he? Roman did not answer. Claire stepped closer. You promised I would know what was happening. I promised you information that affects your safety. This affects my safety. Yes. Then tell me. Roman's jaw tightened. He is being questioned at one of my warehouses. Claire felt the floor tilt beneath her. Questioned. Yes. What does that mean? It means Mason is trying to find out what Victor knows. And if he refuses, Roman looked away. Claire understood. She lowered her voice. Nothing has changed. Roman's gaze returned to her. You are standing in a guarded house because someone photographed your child through his bedroom window. And you think that gives you permission to become exactly what I ran from. I think it gives me a responsibility to stop him by doing whatever prevents him from reaching Eli. Claire took a step back. Roman saw the fear return. His expression softened. Claire, no. She walked toward her room. Roman followed, but stopped before touching her. I am not Daniel. You kept men around you who believed fear was loyalty. You let violence answer every problem. Maybe you never ordered Daniel to threaten me, but you built the world where he thought he had the right. Roman absorbed every word. Claire continued, If you want a place in Eli's life, you cannot ask me to ignore what that life costs. I'm not asking you to ignore it. You are hiding it behind closed doors. Because I do not want you carrying it. I already carried it for 7 years. The anger in her voice cracked. Roman looked at her as though he wanted to reach for her. He did not. Claire whispered, I was alone when he was born. Roman's face went still. I know, no. You heard the words. You do not know what it was like. She pressed a hand to her mouth, then lowered it. The doctor asked who should be called if something went wrong. I gave my mother's number, but she was trapped on the highway because of the snow. I kept thinking that if I died, Eli would enter the world with no one knowing who his father was. Roman closed his eyes. Claire's voice became quieter, and all I could think was that calling you might save me or kill us both. Roman opened his eyes. There was no defense in them. I am sorry. Claire shook her head. Sorry does not change that room, no. It does not return 6 years, no. It does not make you safe. Roman looked toward the dark window at the end of the hall. No. His agreement disarmed her more than an argument would have. He stepped closer slowly enough that she could move away. I cannot change the night Eli was born. I cannot change what Daniel did. I cannot tell you I am harmless. His voice lowered. But I can tell you this. I will never again allow someone to make a decision about you in my name. I will never keep danger from you and call it protection. And I will not take Eli from the life you built. Claire looked at him. How can I believe you? You should not. The answer caught her. Roman continued. Not tonight, not because I apologized. Believe what I do after this. The hallway felt too narrow. Roman stood close enough that Claire could smell rain still trapped in his coat and the faint scent of cedar from downstairs. There had been a time when she knew every detail of him. The place beneath his jaw where his pulse moved. The scar across his palm. The way his voice changed when he was tired. Her body remembered before her mind allowed it. Roman lifted one hand. He stopped before touching her face. Claire looked at his fingers. You always did that, she whispered. What reached for me after saying something impossible? Roman lowered his hand. I can stop. The distance between them felt sharper than contact. Claire looked at his mouth. Roman noticed. Neither moved. A sound came from Eli's room. Claire stepped away immediately. She opened the door. Eli sat upright in bed. What happened? I heard something outside. Roman entered behind her but remained near the doorway. Claire crossed to the window. The curtains were closed. She listened. Nothing. Then a faint click sounded from somewhere below. Roman's posture changed. He took out his phone. No signal. The bedside lamp flickered once. Then the house went dark. Eli gasped. Claire reached him before he could leave the bed. Roman moved into the hallway. Mason. No answer. A second later, emergency lights came on along the floor, casting the corridor in a dim red glow. Mason appeared at the top of the stairs. He held a weapon low against his leg. There is movement near the east gate. Roman's voice became cold. How many? 2 vehicles. 1 breached the outer barrier. Inside, team positioned. Claire pulled Eli close. Roman looked at her. Take him to the reinforced room. No. Claire, I am not leaving without knowing what is happening. A sharp sound cracked through the night. Not thunder. Gunfire. Eli flinched against her. Roman crossed the room and crouched in front of him. Listen to me. Eli stared at him. Your mother is taking you to a safe room. Mason will stay near you. Where are you going downstairs? Why? To make sure no one comes up. Another shot sounded closer this time. Claire saw Roman's eyes change. The gentleness disappeared beneath something older and far more dangerous. Eli grabbed his sleeve. Are you coming back? Roman looked at the small hand holding him. For 1 second he seemed unable to breathe. Then he placed his hand over Eli's. Yes. You promise? Roman held the boy's gaze. I promise. Eli released him. Roman stood. He looked at Claire. There were 1,000 things between them, but no time to say any of them. Mason guided Claire and Eli into the hall. Roman moved toward the staircase. Claire caught his arm. He turned. Do not make him lose you before he knows who you are, she whispered. Something broke across Roman's face. Then it was gone. He covered her hand with his for 1 brief moment. I will come back. The lights flickered again. Glass shattered below. Mason pulled Claire toward the reinforced room at the end of the hall. Roman disappeared down the stairs. Claire held Eli against her as the steel door closed between them and the rest of the house. A lock engaged. The sound was final. Eli pressed his face against her shoulder. Mom, I am here. Who is Roman? Claire closed her eyes. Beyond the steel door, footsteps thundered across the lower floor. Another gunshot tore through the house. Eli pulled back and looked into her face. Why does he look like me? Claire stared at her son. The truth she had carried alone for 6 years stood between them, no longer quiet, no longer distant. Before she could answer, the lights inside the room went out. In the darkness, someone tried the handle from the other side. The handle moved again, slowly this time. Metal pressed against metal, then stopped. Claire held Eli against her chest and stared at the steel door. The emergency room had no windows, no furniture except 2 narrow benches, a cabinet of medical supplies, and a wall panel that should have shown the security cameras. The panel was dark. Eli's breath came fast against her neck. Mom, I have you. Is that Roman? Claire listened. Someone touched the handle a 3rd time, then a voice came through the door. Claire, it is Mason. She did not move. Mason had told her that no one would enter without permission. Roman had said the same, but Roman had also warned her that the men coming for them knew private details, old properties, old photographs, names that should have been forgotten. Claire tightened her arms around Eli. Say something only you would know. Silence followed. Then Mason answered. You told me not to call you Mrs. Bennett. You said your name was Claire. It was not enough. Anyone nearby could have heard that. Something else. Another pause. Mason's voice remained calm. Eli pushed his green beans toward Roman at dinner. Roman ate them without arguing. Eli lifted his head. That is true. Claire still did not unlock the door. What is happening outside? 1 vehicle reached the house. The second remained near the gate. 3 men entered the lower floor. 2 are down. 1 is missing. Where is Roman? Looking for the 3rd. Claire felt Eli become very still. Is he hurt? No. The answer came too quickly. Claire heard it. Mason, he is standing. That is not what I asked. A sound came from the hallway behind him. Mason stopped speaking. Claire heard the scrape of a shoe, then a sharp impact. Eli grabbed her shirt. The handle jerked. Claire backed away from the door. A gunshot exploded on the other side. Eli cried out. Claire covered his ears and turned his face into her shoulder. Something heavy struck the steel. Then silence. Not the ordinary silence of an empty house, the thick silence that follows violence. Claire waited, Her heart beat so hard she could feel it in her teeth. A minute passed, then Roman spoke through the door. "Claire." Her knees nearly gave way. She crossed the room but did not unlock it. "Are you alone?" "Yes." "Where is Mason beside me? Is he alive?" "Yes." She closed her eyes. Eli pulled free from her arms and ran to the door. Roman's voice softened immediately. "I am here. You promised. I remember." Claire placed her hand on the lock. "What happened?" The last man reached the hall. Mason stopped him. "Is Mason hurt a cut? Nothing serious. And you, Roman, did not answer." Claire opened her eyes. "Roman, I am fine. That is not an answer. It is the answer you are getting while the house is still unsecured." Anger rose through the fear. Familiar. Useful. Claire entered the code Roman had shown her earlier. The lock released. She opened the door. Roman stood directly outside. Blood darkened the shoulder of his white shirt. A second stain spread along his side. His face was pale beneath the red emergency lights. Mason leaned against the wall several feet away, pressing a cloth to his temple. A man lay face down near the stairs. Claire looked at Roman. "You said you were fine." "I am standing." That is Mason's answer. Roman almost smiled. The expression disappeared when Eli ran toward him. Roman crouched despite the pain in his side. Eli stopped just before touching him. "Is that your blood? Some of it? Whose is the rest?" Claire closed her eyes briefly. Roman glanced at her. "Someone who came into the house." "Did you hurt him?" "Yes." Eli looked toward the body. Claire stepped between them. "Do not look." Eli turned back to Roman. "Is he dead?" Roman did not lie. "Yes." Eli's face changed. He moved closer to Claire. Roman saw the fear and remained on one knee. "He had a weapon," Roman said. "He came toward the room where you and your mother were hiding. Did you have to kill him?" The question entered the hallway and stayed there. Mason looked down. Claire watched Roman. This was the moment men like him usually hid behind necessity, behind the language of protection, behind the claim that violence had been forced upon them. Roman looked at Eli. "I believed I did." "Do you still?" Roman's breath caught slightly. "I do not know." Eli stared at him. Roman continued. "I did not have time to find another answer." "That does not mean there was no other answer." Claire felt something shift inside her. Not forgiveness, not trust, but recognition. Roman was not trying to make the violence noble. He was letting it remain ugly. Mason straightened. "We need to move." Roman stood slowly. Claire saw the pain cross his face before he controlled it. "You need a doctor. One is on the way. You were shot. The bullet passed through. That does not make it harmless." Roman looked toward Mason. "Take Claire and Eli to the west room." "No," Claire said. Roman turned. "I am not going into another locked room while you decide what I am allowed to know. This house may still be compromised. Then tell me how." Roman's jaw tightened. Mason interrupted. "The power loss was internal. Someone used an old service code to disable the outer system." Claire looked at him. Who had that code? Roman already knew the answer. She saw it in his face. "Daniel," he said. The name seemed to lower the temperature in the hall. Claire remembered the man outside her apartment 7 years earlier. His calm voice. The envelope on the table. The way he had spoken as if her life belonged to a structure she could not see. "Daniel knew about this house. He helped purchase it," Roman said. "You said he had been missing for 4 years." "He has." "Then how did he give someone the code?" Roman looked at the dead man near the stairs. "Because he is no longer missing." Mason handed Roman a phone taken from the attacker. The screen was cracked but still lit. A message remained open. Claire could see only part of it. "The boy stays alive. DeLuca does not." Roman read it once. Then again. His face became empty. Mason said, "The number is connected to a prepaid phone. We are tracing the last signal." Roman handed the phone back. "Victor possibly. Daniel more likely." Claire stepped closer. "You said Daniel wanted me gone because he thought I made you weak. Yes, and now he wants you dead. Yes. Why keep Eli alive?" Roman's eyes moved toward the boy. Leverage. Claire felt sick. Roman continued before she could ask, "If I die, Victor can use Eli to control what remains of my organization. My name still has value. My son would have more. He is 6. To you." Roman's voice hardened. To them he is an inheritance. Claire looked at Eli. He did not understand every word, but he understood enough. She crouched beside him. Go with Anna for a few minutes. I do not want to. I know. I want to stay with you. Claire touched his face. You will be in the next room. Eli looked at Roman. Are more men coming? Roman answered. No one else is getting through that gate. It sounded like a promise. Eli looked at the blood on Roman's shirt. You said you would come back. I did. You did not say you would get shot. Roman lowered his head slightly. I should have been more specific. Eli almost smiled. Anna appeared at the end of the hall. Her face was pale, but her movements remained controlled. Claire watched her take Eli's hand. He looked back twice before disappearing into the west room. When the door closed, Claire turned on Roman. No more careful answers. Roman did not argue. She pointed toward the attacker. That man entered a guarded house. He knew the security code. He knew which floor we were on. He knew Eli had to remain alive. Yes. How long has Daniel been watching us? I do not know. How many people know Eli is your son? I do not know. How many enemies do you have? Roman looked at her, enough that the answer would not help you sleep. Claire stepped closer. Stop deciding what helps me. Roman's face tightened. Mason remained silent beside them. Claire continued. You brought us here because you said this place was secure. Someone entered it within hours. I know. You surrounded the cafe. They still called me from across the street. I know. You put men near the school. They had already photographed him. I know. His agreement only made her angrier. You keep saying you can protect us. Roman's eyes held hers. I believed I could. The past tense silenced her. For the first time since he walked into the cafe, Roman looked uncertain of his own power. Claire lowered her voice. Can you? Roman looked toward the room where Eli waited. Not while I remain what I am. The confession carried no drama. That made it heavier. Roman pressed one hand against the wound at his side. Blood moved between his fingers. Claire reached for him without thinking. He caught her wrist gently before she touched the injury. There is glass on my shirt. She pulled her hand back. The doctor arrived with 2 security officers. Roman allowed himself to be led into a sitting room only after Mason confirmed that the property was clear. Claire followed. The doctor cut the shirt away from Roman's side. The bullet had entered beneath his ribs and passed through the muscle near his back. It had missed anything vital by less than an inch. Roman sat without speaking while the wound was cleaned. Claire stood near the fireplace. The room smelled of antiseptic and smoke from the dying fire. Mason placed the attacker's phone on a table. We have a location. Roman looked up. We're an abandoned freight office near the Delaware River. Claire watched recognition move across his face. Daniel used it before he disappeared, Mason said. Roman stood. The doctor pushed him back into the chair. You are not leaving. Roman looked at him. The doctor did not flinch. You have lost blood. The wound needs to be closed. Roman turned to Mason. Take a team. Claire stepped forward. No? Both men looked at her. Mason waited. Roman's expression changed. You are not coming. I did not say I was. Then what are you saying? I am saying no more men disappear into warehouses while I sit in a room and wait for someone to decide which version of the truth I can handle. Roman's voice became quiet. Claire, if Daniel is there, he is there because of me too. No, he is there because of me. He threatened me. He forced me to leave. He helped steal 6 years from Eli. Do not tell me this has nothing to do with me. Roman stood again. The doctor swore under his breath. Roman ignored him. You will not go near Daniel. Then bring him here. No, because you plan to kill him. Silence followed. Mason looked at Roman. Roman did not deny it. Claire felt something cold settle beneath her anger. If you kill him, what changes? He never reaches you again. And Victor Daniel gives us Victor. And after Victor, Roman said nothing. Claire stepped closer. Who comes after him I do not know. That is the truth, is it not? There is always another man, another route, another warehouse, another reason Eli needs guards outside his school. Roman's face hardened. I cannot erase every threat tonight. No, but you can stop pretending this is temporary. He looked toward the dark windows. Claire continued. You keep calling this protection, but you are offering Eli a childhood built around escape routes. Cars that follow him, men with weapons outside his classroom, houses with steel rooms. Her voice broke. That is not a life. Roman lowered his eyes. No, Claire had expected him to fight. Instead, he sat down again. The doctor resumed closing the wound. Roman watched the needle pass through his skin. When my father died, he said I inherited a group of men who believed fear was the only form of stability. Mason looked toward him. Roman continued. I was 26. Every rival expected me to fail. Every man beneath me expected weakness. Claire listened. I learned to answer everything immediately. A threat, a betrayal, a mistake. If I hesitated, someone else decided what it meant. The doctor tied a stitch. Roman did not react. I built legitimate companies because I wanted a way out. Freight, construction, security. But I moved slowly because every illegal route I surrendered became territory someone else could use against me. Claire understood before he finished. You kept telling yourself you were protecting the future. Yes. While keeping the same life. Yes. Roman looked at her. I thought I could control the danger long enough to leave it on my terms. The wound was covered. The doctor stepped back. Roman buttoned a clean shirt Mason brought from another room, Claire said, and now Roman looked toward the doorway. Eli stood there. Anna was behind him. He must have heard at least part of the conversation. Roman's expression changed. Eli held the repaired airplane. The clamp was still attached to one wing. Mom Claire went to him. You were supposed to stay with Anna. I heard you talking. He looked at Roman. Are we leaving again? Claire crouched. Not yet. Are bad people always going to look for us? There was no safe answer. Claire glanced at Roman. He came closer but stopped several feet away. No, he said. Claire looked at him sharply. Roman kept his eyes on Eli. No, he repeated. Not always. How do you know? Because I'm going to change the reason they are looking. Claire stood. What does that mean? Roman looked at Mason. Call Grayson. Tell him to prepare the legitimate accounts. Mason's face became still. Roman, do it. You know what happens if the crews hear you are closing routes. Yes, the southern warehouses will turn. New Jersey will move against the freight lines. They can have the illegal routes. Mason stepped closer. That is half the structure. It is the half putting my son behind a steel door. The word son entered the room. Eli looked at Claire. She felt the question rise before he spoke. Roman saw it too. No one moved. Mason lowered his voice. If they smell retreat, they will come for everything. Roman looked at him. Then let them come for me. His eyes moved to Eli, not the boy. Claire stared at Roman. This was not an apology. It was not a promise spoken in a hallway. It was a decision that would cost him the thing he had spent his adult life building. Mason looked at Claire, then at Eli. Finally, he took out his phone. I will call Grayson. Roman nodded. And the location near the river, we take Daniel alive. Mason studied him. Alive, yes. Claire heard the restraint in Roman's voice. Not mercy, choice. Mason left the room. Roman looked at Claire. He will answer every question. And then he goes to the authorities with evidence against Victor. You have evidence I have spent years keeping records in case the men around me became more dangerous than the law. Claire almost laughed. That is a very Roman DeLuca sentence. A tired expression crossed his face. I know. Eli looked between them. Why did you call me your son? The room became silent. Claire's heart stopped. Roman did not speak. He looked at her. The decision remained hers. Claire wished the truth had arrived in a gentler room, at the kitchen table, in daylight, without blood beneath Roman's shirt and a dead man being removed from the hall. But perhaps truth rarely arrived where people planned to meet it. She took Eli's hand. There is something I need to tell you. Eli looked toward Roman. Is he my dad? Claire felt every year of silence gather inside her. Yes. The word was almost a whisper. Eli did not move. Roman looked as if someone had struck him. Claire continued. Roman is your father. Eli stared at him. Did he know no? Why not? Claire sat beside him. Because I was afraid. I left before I knew I was pregnant. When I found out, I did not tell him. Eli looked at Roman. Did you look for us? Roman crouched carefully. Yes. For how long? 3 years. Why did you stop? I did not stop. Eli frowned. Then why did it take so long? Roman's eyes filled with pain. Because your mother was very good at hiding and I was very late in understanding why she had left. Eli turned to Claire. Were you hiding from him partly? Was he dangerous? Claire looked at Roman. Yes. Roman did not object. Eli lowered his eyes to the airplane. Is he still? Claire did not know how to answer. Roman did. Sometimes. Eli looked at him. I am trying not to be. That sounds hard. It is. Eli touched the metal clamp. Did you leave me? Roman's face broke. No. He moved closer but did not touch the boy. I did not know you existed. I did not stay away because I did not want you. Eli's voice became smaller. Would you have wanted me? Roman answered immediately. Yes. How do you know? Because I want every day I missed. Eli stared at him. Roman continued. I missed your first word, your first day of school, every birthday, every time you were sick. I cannot get those days back. But I would have wanted every one of them. Eli looked at Claire. Why did you not tell me? Because I wanted to keep you safe. Did it work? The question cut through every defense she had built. Claire looked toward the broken security panel. No, she took a breath. I kept you alive. I gave you a home. I loved you every day. But keeping this secret did not protect you from every kind of hurt. Eli was quiet. Then he asked, Are you mad at her? Roman looked at Claire. Yes. Eli's face tightened. Roman continued, and I understand why she did it. Both things can be true. Eli considered this. Is she mad at you? Roman almost smiled. Very. I am not very, Claire said. Roman looked at her. She corrected herself. I am more than very. Eli gave a small laugh. The tension loosened slightly. Roman looked toward the wooden airplane. The glue needs more time. I know. Eli hesitated. Then he held the plane out. Can you keep it until it is done? Roman took it carefully. Yes. Eli did not call him Dad. Roman did not ask. Later that night, Mason returned with Daniel Cross. He was alive. His wrists were bound. Blood marked one side of his face, but he walked without assistance. Claire watched through the sitting room doorway while 2 security officers brought him inside. 7 years had aged him. Gray threaded through his hair. His face was thinner, but his eyes were the same. Calm, evaluating. He saw Claire. A faint smile touched his mouth. You chose a beautiful blue for the door. Roman crossed the room before Claire could react. He struck Daniel once. The sound echoed against the walls. Daniel fell to one knee. Roman stood over him. Claire saw what he wanted to do. So did Mason. Roman's hands curled into fists. Daniel wiped blood from his mouth. I told you she would make you weak. Roman looked toward Claire, then toward the hallway where Eli slept. His hands opened. He stepped back. No, Roman said. She showed me what weakness actually was. Daniel laughed quietly. You are giving up routes for a woman who ran from you. I am giving up a life that made running her only safe choice. Daniel's smile faded. Roman crouched in front of him. Did you know she was pregnant? No. Daniel looked at Claire. If I had known, I would have made sure she disappeared farther. Roman moved. Mason caught his arm. For one violent second, the room seemed ready to break apart. Claire spoke. Roman. He froze. She did not ask him to forgive Daniel. She did not ask for mercy. She only said his name. Roman looked at her. Claire held his gaze. He slowly stepped away. Mason exhaled. Roman turned to Daniel. You wanted me to prove that power mattered more than anything I loved. Daniel said nothing. Roman continued. You were wrong. He handed Mason a drive taken from a locked cabinet. Everything is there. Victor's routes, Daniel's accounts, names, dates, warehouses. Daniel's face changed. You kept records? Roman looked at him. I learned from trusting you. Mason took the drive. Daniel struggled against the men holding him. You think the law will protect them, no, Roman said. I think removing the men who profit from hunting children is a good beginning. By dawn, federal officers had Daniel in custody. Victor Hale was found 2 days later in a warehouse near Camden preparing to leave through a private cargo route. The evidence on Roman's drive connected Victor to trafficking, extortion, illegal weapons, and the attack on the safe house. Roman surrendered territory before anyone could fight him for it. He closed 3 warehouses. He ended the routes that carried people and weapons. Men who refused legitimate work were dismissed. Some threatened him, others left quietly. Roman became less powerful each day. Claire watched him become more present. 3 weeks later, Eli stood beside a cardboard model of the solar system in his classroom. Parents filled the small chairs along the wall. Claire sat in the front row. The seat beside her remained empty. Eli looked toward the door twice during his presentation. Roman had promised to be there. The other children finished. Parents gathered coats and took photographs. Eli carried his model toward Claire without speaking. She saw the disappointment in his face. Roman may have been delayed. He said he would come. I know, he promised. Claire had no defense for him. The classroom emptied. Then footsteps sounded in the hall. Roman appeared in the doorway. No driver, no coat, no men behind him. His hair was wet with rain. His breathing was uneven. Eli looked away. Roman crossed the room and crouched in front of him. I am sorry. My presentation is over. I know, you missed it. Yes. Why my car stopped on the highway. I left my phone inside when I tried to find help. You could have had another car. I dismissed the driver this morning. Why? Roman glanced at Claire. Because I am learning how to arrive places without an entire security team. Eli looked at him. That did not work. No. Roman nodded. I said I would be here. I was not. You have the right to be angry. He did not offer a gift. He did not make an excuse. He did not ask Eli to forgive him quickly. Roman looked at the cardboard planets. Will you show me? Eli crossed his arms. You missed when I explained Saturn. I did. I worked on it for 2 weeks. I know. No, you do not. You were not here. Roman absorbed the words. You are right. Eli stared at him for a long moment. Then he picked up the model. This is Saturn. Roman leaned closer. Eli pointed to the painted ring. It is not actually one ring. It is lots of pieces. Roman listened. Claire watched the two of them beneath the fluorescent classroom lights. Nothing about the moment looked like the life she once imagined with Roman. It was smaller, less perfect, more honest. Eli finished explaining the last planet. Roman said, Thank you for showing me. Eli looked down. You are still my dad, though. Roman stopped breathing. Claire saw it. So did Eli. The boy frowned. Did I say it wrong? Roman lowered his head for 1 second. When he looked up, his eyes were bright. No, his voice broke slightly. You said it exactly right. Eli reached for his hand. Roman took it. Outside, rain moved softly against the classroom windows. Claire stood beside them and understood that Roman had not earned back the years he had lost. No one could. But when Eli led him toward the door, Roman followed at the child's pace. Roman followed at Eli's pace. It was a small thing, almost nothing to anyone watching from the hallway. A man slowing his steps for a 6-year-old boy, a child holding the hand of someone he had known only a few weeks. Claire saw more. Roman had spent most of his life forcing rooms, businesses, and men to move according to his timing. Now he let Eli stop beside every classroom display. He listened to an explanation about paper volcanoes. He waited while Eli pointed out a spelling test with a gold star at the top. There was no impatience in him. Outside the school, Roman opened the car door for them. The vehicle was different from the ones he once used. No black convoy waited along the curb. No second car blocked traffic. Mason sat behind the wheel alone. Eli climbed into the back seat with his cardboard planets. Roman looked toward Claire. I can take him home. Claire studied him. It was the first time he had asked to be alone with Eli. The request had been coming. She had known that. Still hearing it tightened every protective instinct inside her. Roman did not push. Mason will drive, he said. I will call when we leave. I will call when we arrive. You can follow us if that makes you more comfortable. Eli looked between them. Claire hated making these decisions in front of him. She did not want Roman to become a reward granted for good behavior. She also did not want Eli to believe that loving his father required choosing against her. What are you planning to do? She asked. Roman glanced at Eli. He wants to show me the airplane museum. It closes in an hour, Eli said. Roman nodded. We may only see one room. The old planes are in the first room. Claire looked at her son. His hope was quiet, which made it harder to refuse. She turned back to Roman. You call when you arrive? Yes. No change of plans without telling me. Yes. If he asks to come home, you bring him home. Roman's expression softened. Immediately. Claire crouched and zipped Eli's coat. You stay where Roman can see you, I know. You listen to Mason, I know. You do not run ahead. Eli sighed. I know. Claire touched his cheek. Then she stood and stepped away. Roman opened the door. Eli climbed inside, then leaned across the seat. Mom! Yes, are you going to be okay by yourself? The question surprised her. Claire smiled. I think I can manage for an hour. Eli nodded and settled beside his planets. Roman entered after him. Before closing the door, he looked at Claire. There was gratitude in his eyes, but no triumph. That mattered. The car pulled away. Claire remained on the sidewalk until it disappeared at the corner. For years, every part of Eli's life had belonged to her. Every illness, every teacher meeting, every scraped knee, every quiet question before sleep. Letting Roman carry even one small part felt like losing something. It also felt like breathing. Claire returned to the Blue Hour before sunset. The cafe had reopened 3 days earlier. The broken lock had been replaced. The windows had been reinforced. Mason had installed cameras after Claire approved every location. Nothing pointed toward the apartment above the pharmacy. Nothing recorded customers at their tables. There was always one security officer somewhere nearby, but Roman had agreed that Claire would know the person's name schedule and purpose. No strangers pretending not to watch her. No invisible decisions made in her name. Sadie stood behind the register when Claire entered. You look nervous. I am not nervous. You have checked your phone 6 times. Claire took off her coat. Eli is with Roman. Sadie stopped arranging cups. Alone, Mason is driving. That was not my question. Claire looked toward the pastry case. Sadie lowered her voice. Do you trust him? Claire considered the answer. I trust him to bring Eli home. That sounds specific. It is. Sadie nodded. Specific trust is still trust. Claire looked at her. When did you become wise? I watch crime documentaries. That explains nothing. It explains most things. Claire began checking the afternoon receipts. Her phone rang 5 minutes later. Roman. She answered immediately. We arrived. Claire heard Eli's voice in the background. Tell her about the plane. Roman moved the phone. There is a restored aircraft from 1935 near the entrance. It is a Douglas DC-3, Eli corrected. Roman repeated the name. Claire smiled despite herself. Have fun. She ended the call before the warmth in her voice became obvious. Eli returned 2 hours later carrying a paper pilot's badge. Roman brought him inside. The cafe was nearly empty. Eli ran to Claire. They let me sit in a cockpit. You were supposed to see 1 room. We saw 3, Roman admitted. Claire raised an eyebrow. The second room was connected to the first, Eli said. And the third, Claire asked. Eli looked at Roman. Roman answered. A navigational error. Claire tried to remain stern. She failed. Eli began explaining every aircraft he had seen. Roman stood beside him listening as though he had not heard the same details during the entire drive home. When Eli finally went upstairs to finish his homework, Roman remained near the counter. Claire wiped down the espresso machine. How was he curious? I know. Patient when he wants to be. I know that too. Roman rested one hand on the counter. He asked why I do not live with you. Claire stopped wiping. What did you say, that your apartment is your home and I have not been invited to live there? Claire looked at him. He asked if I wanted to, and I told him that was a conversation between adults. That was almost responsible. Roman's mouth shifted. I am improving. Claire placed the towel aside. What did he say? He said adults make simple things difficult. He may be right. Roman watched her. The late light moved across the front windows, turning the cafe blue and gold. I closed another warehouse today, he said. Claire's expression changed. Which one? The one near Camden. Was it dangerous? The men there were unhappy. That is not what I asked. No one was hurt. Claire nodded. Roman had begun telling her about his decisions before she had to ask. Not every detail. Some information remained protected by lawyers and federal investigations, but he no longer expected her to accept silence as proof of safety. How much is left, she asked. 2 illegal routes. Both should be closed by the end of the month. And after that, freight, construction, security contracts, legitimate ones. Yes. Claire leaned against the counter. Do you know how to live without everyone being afraid of you? Roman looked toward the door. No, the answer was honest enough to make her chest ache. He continued, I know how to learn. For the next 6 weeks, Roman kept showing up. Not dramatically. not with expensive gestures designed to erase the past. He came on Tuesday mornings before the cafe opened and carried sacks of flour from the delivery truck. The first time he wore a wool coat that cost more than Claire's monthly rent. By the fourth Tuesday, he arrived in an old gray sweater because flour dust had ruined the coat. He attended Eli's school conference and listened while the teacher explained that Eli was bright, easily distracted, and sometimes too willing to correct adults. Roman looked at Claire. "That sounds familiar." Claire ignored him. He learned the pickup procedure. He memorized the names of Eli's teachers. He kept a spare inhaler in his car even though Eli had needed it only once. He also made mistakes. He bought Eli an expensive remote-controlled airplane without asking. Claire returned it. Roman did not argue. He replaced it with a small model kit they could build together. He once sent a security officer into the cafe after Claire failed to answer her phone for 20 minutes. She made him apologize to Sadie and every customer who had been frightened. He did. He arrived early for Eli's dentist appointment and looked more anxious than the child. Eli watched him pace in the waiting room. "It is just a cleaning." Roman nodded. "Of course, you look scared. I dislike dental tools." Eli smiled. "Do not worry. I will protect you." Claire heard the sentence from across the room. Roman sat down. His face became very still. Eli climbed into the chair when his name was called. Roman remained in the waiting room beside Claire. "He should not feel responsible for me," he said. He was joking. "I know." Claire looked at him. Roman watched the closed examination room door. "I do not want him believing he has to take care of my fear. Then show him that you can carry it yourself." Roman nodded. That was how they began speaking now. Not around the truth. Through it. Roman no longer arrived at the cafe with 3 vehicles. Most mornings he came alone. One Thursday he ordered black coffee. Claire stared at him. "You hate black coffee. Eli says fathers drink boring coffee. You are allowing a 6-year-old to control your taste. He is persuasive." Claire placed the cup in front of him. Roman took one sip and immediately regretted it. Claire laughed. He looked offended. "You made this. I also made the vanilla latte you refused to order." Roman pushed the black coffee away. "Give me the latte. Say please." He looked at her. Claire waited. "Please." She made it. When she set the cup down, their fingers touched. The contact lasted only a second. Still, neither of them moved immediately. Roman looked at her hand. Claire withdrew first. The attraction between them had not disappeared. It had changed. It no longer felt like a fire that could burn down every reason to be careful. It felt quieter. More dangerous because it had patience. A month after the school presentation, Roman offered to buy the building that housed the Blue Hour. Claire refused before he finished speaking. He stood beside the cafe window holding a folder of property documents. "The owner plans to sell." "I know. He may raise the rent before the sale." "I know that too. I can purchase the building and give you a permanent lease." "No." Roman closed the folder. "I would not own the cafe. You would own the walls around it. I would charge the same rent. That is not the point." Roman looked frustrated. "Then explain the point." Claire crossed her arms. "This place is the first thing I built after I stopped running. I signed the lease. I painted the walls. I took the risk. I cannot feel safe here if my future depends on whether our relationship is good. Our relationship would not affect the lease. You believe that now." Roman went quiet. Claire continued. "I need something that remains mine even if we fail. The word we stayed between them." Roman noticed it. He did not use it against her. He nodded once. "What do you need, a commercial attorney?" "I know one. I will pay the fee." Roman almost objected. Claire raised an eyebrow. He stopped. "I will send you the number." The attorney helped Claire negotiate a longer lease with an option to purchase if the owner decided to sell. Claire paid every invoice herself. Roman never mentioned buying the building again. Saturday mornings became Eli's time with him. At first they stayed at the cafe. Then they began going to Roman's legitimate freight office near the river. Eli liked watching the trucks arrive and leave. Roman showed him how schedules worked, how cargo was recorded, and why every driver had to sign a safety sheet. He did not show him the old offices where other decisions had once been made. He did not glorify what he had left behind. When Eli asked why some warehouses were closed, Roman answered carefully, I used them for work I should not have been doing. Was it illegal? Yes. Did you get arrested? No. Why not? Roman looked at Claire. She did not help him, because powerful people do not always face consequences when they should. Eli frowned. That is unfair. Yes. Are you going to do it again? No. How do I know? Roman sat beside him. You do not know yet. You watch what I do. Claire heard her own words in his answer. Believe what I do after this. Roman had listened. One evening after closing, Claire found him stacking chairs. He had removed his jacket and rolled his sleeves to his elbows. The sight pulled an old memory from her. Roman repairing the apartment window. Snow outside, coffee on the table. The life she had once believed they might have. He noticed her watching. What nothing? That is not true. Claire locked the register. The danger made everything confusing. Roman stopped stacking chairs. What do you mean? When you came back we were afraid. You were protecting us. Eli needed you. I needed you. Roman waited. Claire continued. It would be easy to mistake that intensity for love. His face remained calm, but she saw the impact. I know. I do not want gratitude to become a relationship. I know. Eli loving you does not mean I owe you anything. Roman placed the chair down. You do not. Claire looked at him. He stepped closer, but left several feet between them. I will be his father whether you love me or not. Her throat tightened. Roman continued. I will attend school meetings. I will take him to museums. I will arrive late sometimes and apologize. I will make mistakes. None of that depends on you giving me another chance. Claire had not realized how badly she needed to hear it. For years, she had believed allowing Roman near Eli would eventually cost her control over her own life. Now, he was separating fatherhood from possession. What do you want? She asked. Roman looked around the cafe, the blue walls, the worn tables, Eli's drawings beside the register, the life Claire had built without him. I want to know you as you are now. Claire said nothing. Not the woman who left, he continued. Not the woman I remember. You. And if I cannot forgive you, then I will respect what you built. And if I can, Roman's eyes met hers, then I will still respect it. Silence settled between them. Claire looked toward the front windows. The city had moved into the blue hour, the brief space between daylight and darkness, when every surface seemed softer than it was. I spent years telling myself we had enough, she said. Roman listened. Enough money to pay rent, enough food, enough sleep to open the cafe, enough happiness that Eli would not notice what was missing. Was it enough? Claire considered the question. It kept us alive. Roman's expression softened. That is not the same thing. No. Claire walked around the counter. For the first time since Roman returned, no danger had forced them into the same room. No one was watching the door. No urgent phone call waited to interrupt them. Only the truth remained. I do not know what we are, she said. Roman nodded. Neither do I. I am not ready for forever. I am not asking for it. Dinner, Claire said. Roman became still. Friday. He watched her carefully. Dinner, no guards at the next table. One man across the street. Claire almost smiled. Across the street. Roman's restrained smile returned. Agreed. Claire reached for his hand. Roman did not move first. His fingers closed around hers only after she made the choice. Friday evening, Roman arrived at the blue hour after closing. He brought no flowers, no jewelry, no gift wrapped in expensive paper. He carried a small brass bell. Claire looked at it. The old one stopped ringing, he said. Eli appeared from the kitchen wearing a paper chef's hat. We are having takeout because Mom burns things. I do not burn everything. You burn soup. That happened once. Soup has water in it. Roman looked at Claire. That is impressive. She pointed toward the door. You can leave. Eli took the bell from Roman. Can we put it up now? Roman found a small ladder in the storage room. Eli climbed 2 steps before Claire stopped him. You are not standing there alone. Roman lifted him. Eli reached toward the top of the door while Roman held him steady. Claire placed one hand against the ladder and the other against Roman's back. For one suspended moment, all 3 of them were connected. Roman holding Eli, Claire holding them both. The new bell settled into place. Eli tapped it. The sound was clear and bright. Roman lowered him to the floor. Outside, Philadelphia moved beyond the windows. Cars passed. Streetlights came on. A woman hurried beneath an umbrella. Somewhere far away, a siren moved through traffic. Inside, Eli opened cartons of food on the nearest table. Roman looked at the sign hanging in the door. Closed. Claire followed his gaze. She walked toward it and turned it around. Open. Roman looked at her. The business day is over. I know. What does it mean? Claire stood beneath the new bell. For 7 years, she had survived by locking every door behind her. She had mistaken distance for safety and silence for control. She knew now that an open door was not a promise that nothing dangerous would enter. It was a choice made with clear eyes. It means you can come in, she said. Roman looked at her for a long moment. Then he crossed the room. Not like a king entering a place that belonged to him, like a man who understood he had been invited. Eli called them to the table. Claire sat on one side. Roman sat across from her. Their son took the chair between them and began explaining why he should be allowed to eat dessert first. Roman listened seriously. Claire looked at the two of them and felt something inside her loosen. Her life had never been incomplete. The cafe was hers. Her son was hers to love, not to possess. Her choices remained her own. Roman had not returned to complete her. He had returned to ask whether there was room for him beside everything she had already built. Claire reached beneath the table and found his hand. This time, she did not let go. Above the door, the new bell remained still. For tonight, no one else needed to enter. Everyone Claire had been waiting for was already inside.